Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Montfort University's live stream. Today's is student experience, so student life, what to expect, and I guess some of the things that you can kind of doing a bit of research as well. If you're joining us today on the DMU website, that's great. But if you do want to leave a comment or ask us anything, say hello, then you might want to pop onto YouTube. There is a little link there at the bottom of the video that says YouTube, and you can head over there and say hello. We'd love to know who's joining us today. I can see that there's quite a few viewers joining us today. You'll be glad to know that it's not just me talking to you today. The whole point is that it is from students, so it's a student life talk, student experience. I graduated quite a few years ago, so the best people to tell you all about their student experience is actually our Montfort University students. So I'm going to introduce them in just a moment here. So you might be watching us on Facebook as well as YouTube or on our website. So again, just pop a note, pop a little hello in the comments. We'd love to see who is joining us. At any point during the stream, you have a question, pop it in there, and we will try and get to it as quickly as we can. It might be that we get a lot of comments, so if we don't get to you, then we will have a look at getting back in touch with you later as well, or popping some links in as to where you can find the information. So first up today, I want to introduce you to our first student joining us. We have Lakshi, so I'm going to add her to the stream now. Good morning.
Hi guys, good morning. My name is Lakshi and I'm from Walthamstow. I study criminology with psychology and I'm currently just finished my second year. I'm going into my third.
Fantastic. So you've been at Montfort University for a number of years now.
Yeah, I've been there for 2 years, yes.
A seasoned student now, so lots of information from you today, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
Next up we have Anna. I'll introduce Anna now, bring her into the stream.
Hi guys, I'm Anna. I'm a second year fashion design student, just finished my second year, going into my third year now. I'm originally from Madrid, Spain, but I'm half English, half Spanish.
Wonderful. Buenos dias, Anna.
Buenos dias.
And next up we have Nabila joining us.
Hi, so my name is Nabila and I am in my final year studying a PhD in cognitive psychology. I also did my undergrad in psychology at DMU as well, so I have been at the university for 6 years now. Yeah, that's me.
Brilliant stuff. Next up, we have Demi joining us today. Hello, good morning, Demi.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so my name's Demi. I'm from Milton Keynes and came to Montfort University to study business management. I did my 2 years, went out on placement. I've just completed my final year.
Fantastic. So, Demi, you're joining us from back home, aren't you? Back home at the parents' house. Loving life with the parents. The joys of the summer break as well. And lastly, but not least, we have Caitlin. Morning, Caitlin.
Hi, my name's Caitlin and I'm from London and I'm on the legal master's course and I did my undergrad here in law and criminal justice as well.
Fantastic. So we have quite a range of students, different subjects, different years, PhD, undergrads. So we've probably got lots of things that we can tell you about today. Looking over the comments, I can see Dalvia, you've said hello to us. Hello to you too. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being with us here today. So I guess we'll dive right in. We're going to be with you probably for the next 50 minutes or so probably until 12 o'clock. So again, any questions, pop them in there. Hello, Karen. You were at Montfort University a couple of years ago, we'll say. Thank you for joining us today, Karen. Look forward again to your questions. So let's move on. I guess firstly, I want to have a chat to you guys a little bit about how you went about your research, how you picked your course. We did have a question today as well about picking your course and can you do a subject that you haven't done before as well. So that was quite interesting. That's one of our first questions. If you apply for another course that has nothing to do with your current one, so I guess that's for a person at college, for example, how would you do that? So if that applies to any of you as well, do you let me know? But who would like to start first? Who would like to let me know a little bit about how they chose their course? Anyone? Nabila? Okay, we'll head over to you, okay?
So actually, I studied psychology, which was something I hadn't studied before, and my college actually didn't offer that as a course. But I was really interested in it because I thought about maybe going into counseling or clinical psychology, so maybe becoming a therapist. So I looked into studying psychology, and I think one of the requirements that I needed to have was some kind of science. And at the time, I was studying biology, which was pretty much exactly what they were looking for. So I didn't need to have psychology as a subject at A level to study it at university. And actually, quite a lot of people don't study psychology at A level, but are interested in studying it at university. And if you haven't studied it before, you're at no disadvantage at all because they're not expecting you to have any prior knowledge on the subject. And actually, biology was more useful because there's a module within the course called biological psychology, and so that's where the biology comes in. But if you don't have biology but you have chemistry, any kind of science would do for the course.
Well done, Nabila, for continue on over the sirens, I think, in your background there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you could hear that. Sorry.
We pick up absolutely everything. So well done for not losing your train of thought. I know it can be quite difficult sometimes when the camera is on you. Anybody else? Anna, how did you choose your course?
So I've always had an interest in fashion, and since a young age I knew this is something I wanted to do, but I didn't know exactly if I wanted to go into the design route, the marketing, management, etc. So it wasn't until I did my levels, which I did textiles, fashion and textiles A level, and that's when I got the first glance of what it's like. And then when I started doing research online, I saw the different courses and the different modules they offered and realized that the design route was the one I was interested in. And then I applied, and DMU was the one I chose in the end.
Fab. So takes a bit of research, I think, doesn't it? Going to open days,
Definitely.
finding out, looking on university websites as well. It's not easy. I think I changed my mind about 3 times trying to figure out what I wanted to do. If I wanted to do something different to my A levels. It can be quite stressful sometimes. So I think the earlier you start doing your research, the better, really, because you can start ruling things out and find out what is a hobby, what can you do in your spare time, that kind of thing. So it's good to start doing your research as early as possible. Anybody else wanted to share why they picked their course? Yeah.
Yeah, so I do business and management, as I previously said. I did business at a GCSE and I enjoyed it, so I then picked it as an A level along with English, Lang and Lit and psychology. In year 12, I just preferred business the most and I had an interest, and ended up applying for business and management because I didn't know which area of business I'd want to go into long term. And through studying at university in my first year, it then made me realize I had an interest more in marketing and strategic management.
Great. So anybody else wanted to share about how they chose their course? I did languages at university. I think probably one of the reasons why I chose my course was because I enjoyed meeting people from other countries. I enjoyed learning languages at college, at school even, and I knew I got to spend a year abroad. I think the prospect of spending a year abroad in Spain was quite appealing to me, particularly when I started thinking about the sunshine in Spain. So that's probably one of the reasons why I chose my course, amongst other things. Anybody else want to share? We all good? Yeah, well, we can move on to the next thing. I think what's really, really important, is looking at universities. You've got around about 50,000 courses to choose from in the UK, which is absolutely insane. The different combinations of courses that you can do. It really shows that there really is something out there for everyone. But you've also got hundreds of universities to choose from as well in the UK. So I guess it'd be quite interesting to know how you kind of started, looking at your course and looking at the university as well, how you started doing a bit of research, deciding whether you wanted to be far away, if you wanted to be a bit closer to home, that it wasn't too difficult to get back to home even. So I guess some of the thought processes that you went through when choosing your university, I think that would be really, really interesting for our viewers today. Nabila, I was like fastest fingers first.
Yeah.
I'll pop over to you.
Yeah, so actually, some of the things whilst I was looking at the courses was looking at accreditation. I didn't actually know too much about what a course being accredited meant, and so I had to look into that quite a lot. So for psychology in particular, it's definitely recommended to have the BPS accreditation, which is the British Psychological Society accreditation, which just means that if you do want to become a psychologist, a forensic psychologist, clinical psychologist, educational psychologist, etc., you'd need to have the BPS accreditation. So it's just thinking about things like that. And also I was traveling from abroad because I'm originally from Zimbabwe. And so when I thought about moving to the UK, I thought I'd like to be close to family. So if something happened to me at university, I had people I could call who could kind of come and get me or help out and stuff like that. But I also really thought about the campus. I think there are different campuses in the UK. So some are all the buildings are in one place, like DMU. DMU has everything all in one place. Whereas in London, I think some of the buildings are quite spread out. So it also just depends on what you're looking for in terms of your campus experience. I didn't really want to be traveling for hours and hours on a daily basis to get from one place to the other, because it's also a little bit expensive. So being able to walk from one side to the other within 10 minutes or so was kind of important to me. So those are kind of the things that I was thinking about when looking at universities.
Fantastic. And I can just see some more people have said good morning to us. So hello, Abhishek. Congratulations on your unconditional letter from us at DMU. Hi, David, as well. Thank you for joining us today. Great to have you here. And anybody else want to share what they did? Maybe you went to an open day. Yep, Anna, I'll pop over to you.
So there was a few things that I really wanted to investigate before coming here and checking the campus out. One was the modules. So with a fashion design course, some universities you have to know before you start the course what you want to specialise in, whether it's fashion, like women's wear, men's wear, or knitwear. However, here at DMU, you've got the choice of experimenting and then figuring out which you want to specialise in later on in the course, which is something that I really was interested in because I wasn't actually sure myself. So I had that freedom. Also facilities. So it was really important for me to find like an incredible space to work in. And here we've got the VJ Patel building, which has amazing facilities and it's all in one place. And on my interview day, when I was able to visit, that's when I also realised like I could see myself starting the next day here.
Fab. So I guess it was the facilities that really kind of attracted to you to
Definitely.
the course. I guess with at DMU, we've got a brand new building for fashion courses. So I would imagine that was quite appealing to you as well. Anybody else wants to share? You went to open days. Yep, Demi?
Yeah, so when I started looking at different universities, all the ones that I did apply for, I went to an open day for. I definitely recommend it because you can get a vibe, you can speak to lecturers, current students doing the same in similar courses. And for me, a placement was what I wanted to do as part of my experience. So I got to speak to maybe students that had completed a placement and the placement team themselves, which gave me that positive vibe that I could be able to gain one through DMU. And also other things such as we're quite near the train station and public transport is very easily accessible. That's quite important as I am a family man and I do like to see family, although I was far enough from home to gain my independence. So it's striking that balance.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like, you do think about what you want from your university experience, and as you mentioned quite rightly, striking that balance between, you know, to make sure that you enjoy your student experience, but also have that home life if that's what you want as part of your student experience. I know back when I was looking at universities, my parents quite happily told me that I would be moving away for university. I would no longer be living at home. And I was to be at least an hour away from home. So I swear I wasn't a bad teenager, but obviously they just wanted their freedom back. Caitlin, can I come to you, because you've actually joined us from London, come up to DMU, and you're from London, aren't you?
Yeah.
Did you come along to an open day?
Yes, I did. So when I was deciding my university choices, I did like a list. So like I did like deal breakers on things I just can't compromise on. And then I did like a list of things that I'm willing to like compromise on and stuff like that. So I knew definitely that I wanted to move away from home, but I knew I wanted to be far enough to be like my parents couldn't just come and see me randomly. But I wanted to be still close enough for me to be able to still go back home if I needed to. So I also wanted a campus-based university like DMU. So all the accommodations are really close by. So when I came to an open day, which I came to by myself, the atmosphere was really nice and it was really friendly. Loads of people to help out and stuff like that. So realizing that this city, even though obviously it's not as big as London, but it was still like has the same city vibes, and accommodation being close and stuff like that as well was really useful. So it kind of like ticked all my deal breaker boxes, because I didn't want to like live in the middle of nowhere kind of thing, and I still wanted the city atmosphere kind of thing as well. Yeah.
Fab. So joined us from London, so that's brilliant. I have popped a link into the comments there, so if any of you would like to join us on our virtual open day, it's on the 4th of July. There's a link there. You'll get to chat to people like me, to students, students studying the course that you're interested in specifically. So do sign up, do come along. We'll send you some information of how to actually do that for the day. So we'll keep it as easy as possible for you to do that. So Caitlin actually really quite helpfully, and probably to lead us on, mentioned accommodation. So did everybody move away from home then? Everybody moved away from home?
Yeah.
So just like me, you were kicked out, yeah?
I was kicked out of the country.
Oh gosh. So some of you moved to a different country. So how did you look at accommodation? What was really, really important to you, and how did you find I guess perhaps living independently for the first time in your life, I'd say? Yeah. Demi, I'll come over to you.
Yeah, so in my first year, I lived at New Wharf Hall. So it's very basic accommodation. There's no like ensuite or anything. So we had 2 bathrooms and 2 shower rooms, sort of shared kitchen facilities. And to me, that was kind of important, as I wanted to come out of my comfort zone and make as many friends as possible. And I'm still, like, 2 of my best mates now are 2 that I lived with in my first year. And also it's kind of near the gym and 3 or 4 minutes walk away from campus and within a 10 minutes walk into town. So all my shopping, the nightlife, society life, all the pubs that I like to go to, the gym, and easily accessible to actually get to my lectures were really important in deciding my accommodation.
Fab. So I have posted in the chat there as well. So if anybody would like to have a look at some of the accommodation options there, you can find that on this link. There is a lot out there. Lots of people do ask us questions. For example, can you have a private bathroom, which you lived without, didn't you, Demi? You lived without a private bathroom.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 times throughout the year where you're thinking, oh, I want to go for a shower and someone's in there, but it didn't happen to you often as I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually had to share a bathroom throughout my university experience, and you just kind of come up with a rota. You have a look to see, okay, who's got lectures first thing on a morning, who's the kind of people who, shower in the evening. So it's just kind of like trying to find that happy medium, isn't it? But yes, there's lots of options. Sometimes people ask us, you know, can I live with just girls or can I live with just boys, for example? So perhaps students here can shed some light on that for me.
Yeah, so in my experience, it was I shared with all boys, but they had different kind of flats where you could have mixed, or if you wanted to go with just females or just males, you could do so. So it's kind of a mix for everyone. But you can, I guess, you can email the accommodations and put in specific requests as well and see if they can meet your needs. But it would be different for each place, and it would depend on the availability they've got.
Yeah. So, Nabila, are you waving at me?
Yeah.
Are you really eager?
Well, yeah, a little bit. So actually, initially I stayed with family, which I think was a little bit tough. But my recommendation as someone who didn't stay on campus, in the first couple of years, I'd say it would be really good for you to consider at least spending 1 year on campus, and particularly in your first year, because it's a lot easier to make friends, it's a lot easier to get involved with things, and everything is just literally on your doorstep. And pretty much everybody around you is in the same position as you as well, so it's not so scary then, and you just have people who are basically in the same boat as you. Whereas if you're kind of driving in or taking the bus and stuff like that, it can be a little bit isolating. And then at the end of the day, you tend to have to go home by yourself early whilst everybody else is going out. So you do feel a little bit like you're missing out on stuff. On the one hand, you do save a lot of money. So that's why I'd say if you spend maybe at least 1 year on campus in the first year, get that experience, make loads of friends. And then if you want to move back after that, that's absolutely fine. But I think that experience just for 1 year is very important. It changes the whole experience altogether, I think, because when I eventually did move to accommodation, I was staying in a studio flat because I'm a little OCD. And it was just nice to be close to everybody. And when everybody was going out, I could say, yeah, I'll come along and we could meet up and stuff. So it is, I think it's an important part of the whole overall experience. And if that's what you're looking for, I'd recommend it for at least a year.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add to that, I say that university, particularly in your first 1 or 2 years, it can be quite spontaneous. So if you're on campus and there's maybe social activities, or you know, you've got a friend that says, oh, I'm going to the library, fancy joining, it's just easy, you can just make a decision. You know, whereas if you're not on campus, those kind of decisions can be a little bit more difficult for you.
Yeah,
How did you all get on with things like doing your own cooking and doing your own laundry? Is that things that you kind of did before? I can see you laughing, Lakshi. Did you want to add in something there? Are you a good cook? Oh, we unmute you.
So I was the youngest child at home, so I tend to get everything my way. I never really had to do anything in general. So just like you, I had to be kicked out. My mom was like, yeah, you're definitely going to live out this year. So everything was so new for me, from cooking. You were even like this stuff that you actually get living at home that you never think about until you live out by yourself, like simple stuff like buying fairy liquid to wash your dishes or buying tissue rolls. You won't really think about that when you're living at home. You become very independent. You need to cook by yourself, you need to time manage, you need to get your washing done or else it's going to pile up, and there's uni 9 o'clock lectures on top of that. So it actually gives you a chance to become really independent. Like I now know that if I'm stranded somewhere in a house by myself, I'm able to cope, which I won't really say if I didn't really live out. So it's pretty good. I do really enjoy it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Nabila?
I mean, the one thing I learned was when I bought my own fruit and vegetables, they tended to go bad a lot quicker than they did at home. It's crazy. Like, I'd like to eat healthy, but everything went bad really quickly. So that was a bit frustrating. And I had never done laundry before. I never used the washing machine. I'd never had to buy food for myself and things like that. So it was all kind of crazy, and it was all very much trial and error, and calling anyone who would pick up, asking them like, oh, I don't know what to buy. Tell me, like, how do I do laundry? And I found that laundry was expensive. Like to do laundry, to wash your clothes was ridiculously expensive. So I feel like it helps you grow as a person, and it feels really good. Initially, I was constantly panicked and stressed, and I'd never lived alone, so that was scary. But actually, you can make it your own. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to answer to anybody. You can shower whenever you want. And I think that kind of independence is difficult to explain, but it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy and it's scary, but it's definitely worth it.
I think I remember calling my mum myself and being like, how's your poaching egg? Or, how long should it be in there for? Is this how it's supposed to be? So yeah, I think looking back, I'm thinking, I should have been a little bit prepared for cooking when I started university, because no one can afford to have takeaways every night, nor is it recommended, I imagine. Debbie, did you want to chip in?
Yeah, no, I can do. Yeah, just in regards to kind of cooking in the shops, and kind of budgeting is important. So if you come to DMU, get to know your kind of local area and where to shop. As I said before, we're quite lucky that we're in walking distance from a lot of places. So on one side of campus, we have a Lidl and Tesco supermarket to kind of do all your main weekly shop. And I tend to go there maybe once every 3 weeks and buy all the stuff that I put in my cupboards. And then in my final year, I was living in town and I was really near the market. So all your fresh fruit and veg, really good quality, large quantities, cheap prices, stay nice and healthy. It's good quality as well. So just get to know your area and where to do your shopping, and then you can kind of start budgeting.
And you can
we're not sponsored by Aldi or Lidl. It's just one close by. Bit cheaper than some of the other ones out there. Got somebody else saying hello. Hi, Hasim. Nice for you to join us, to say hello. And we do have a question as well that was asked prior to starting the stream. So I think a really, really useful question. How much do students typically pay in rent? So not sure if you want to share how much kind of like our halls of residence, or generally how much they are. Yeah, Demi, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, so this really does vary. So first of all, decide what you want. Do you want something more basic, or would you like an ensuite? Maybe typical ensuite that a lot of people, I feel like a lot more people want an ensuite now. Maybe £140 a week. But then, for example, in my first year, I lived more basic and I paid £99 a week, and I was just as happy. And it gave me more money to go and spend on social activities and food and drink and stuff like that. So it all depends on what you want to spend your money on. But again, it varies. And obviously the prices go up if you want a studio or if you want an ensuite.
Great. So I think we can probably move on to the next one.
Okay.
Hold your horses, Nabila. We can probably move on to the next one. So again, there is the link in the comments there. So anything that you want to know about accommodation, if you even want to know about student life, it is possible to chat to our students through our website as well. And I'll pop that link in the comments in just a bit. But what I actually want to move on and ask you about is actually a little bit more about your course life. So kind of like your contact hours, what's the kind of expectations? If you only do, say, 10 hours on campus, is there a lot more kind of self-study that you're expected to do? You know, how you taught, kind of practical seminars, you know, how do you manage your time? And is there any particular support available out there for you? You know, did you feel that it was quite a jump from, say, sixth form to college to universities? If you'd like to share that with me. Yeah, Nabila.
So what my school day used to be from around 7:30 until 3. So it's quite a long day. And actually when I started university, I only had lectures and workshops for about 12 hours a week. So I had Wednesdays off and I had Fridays off, and suddenly I had all this free time and I thought, woo, party. But actually, for psychology in particular, you have to do quite a lot of independent study. You need to do quite a lot of reading, and you'll have quite a few assignments that you need to start doing your research on and working towards. So whilst you'll only be in for about 12 to 15 hours a week contact time, so that's lectures and workshops, you will have to do about, I'd say, 20 hours on top of that, in order to kind of be where you need to be in terms of your wider reading and preparing for your assessments and stuff like that. So whilst you just have to decide, like, are you going to go out with friends during the day and then work at night, or are you going to go out at night and work during the day? So as long as you kind of find that balance between work and play and having fun, you'll be able to do pretty much everything that you want to do. Because I had a lot of time to get involved with volunteering, go out with friends, go to the cinema and stuff, all during the day and between lectures as well. So it's just about how you manage your time.
Great, thanks for that, Nabila. We have just had a question come in, which I think is really, really quite interesting as well, quite a good point to make. So any recommendations for disabled students? And I'm just going to pop in a link here in the chat as well, where you can find out some more information about disability support. We do have a disability, and we also have welfare support teams on campus to support students. Are you all aware of that as well? Where you can go to get advice, anything, even welfare, mental health support as well. Then there are people there. If it's financial woes that you have, we have even a student finance team to support you through your time at university. It is important to get involved in these things, to make yourself aware of them, see what support is offered by the university. At the moment, I think something that I've taken part in is that they offer, as part of mindfulness and your mental health, they offer free yoga classes and some free classes for staff and students. So I've taken part of some of them at lunchtime to just kind of unwind, relax a little bit, and then head back to work. So that helps certainly sometimes as well. And then we've also had somebody ask about part-time jobs. We'll come to that in just a bit. So did any of you again want to share kind of how you manage your workload as well? Yep, Demi, fastest fingers.
So I guess with university, on a business course, I have about 15 content hours. So that includes lectures, seminars, and workshops. But then it's all about having the motivation to fit in all the extra reading. For example, I might be sent articles and journals to do some reading on, that I might be asked some questions or as part of a group discussion for a workshop. And maybe that's an extra 10 hours or so a week. Then you've got to do all your assignments on top of that. So it's about fitting it in, and it's about doing things at a time that suits you. So you might then have a part-time job, you might want to do some volunteering, you might join a society. And that's why I guess university is full-time, because it's not just going to your lectures or your workshops for 15 hours a week if that's what you're in for. There's all these other things that you need to add into your own timetable.
Fab. And you quite helpfully there mentioned part-time work. And we did actually have a question as well, any opportunity. So thank you for sending that question in, any opportunity for part-time work. And I think probably, Caitlin, I'm going to ask you about this, because we've worked together a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Too much, I think.
Yeah.
So if you could tell us a little bit about the kind of flexible work that you've done for us here at DMU, that would be great.
Yeah, so I'm a student ambassador, and I've been a student ambassador since my first year. So when I got my student finance statement of what my breakdowns of my installments would be, I was like, ooh, I like nice things, so maybe I should get a job. So they have a uni temps on campus in the student union, and then you can go there to see the different part-time jobs that are available to suit your studies and stuff like that. And so a student ambassador, basically you do things like campus tour, you do things like these live streams and stuff like that, and you're basically just sharing your student experience with people. So I thought that would be really useful to get extra income on the side. And it was easy to fit in with my university commitments, because it's you just sign up to the shifts that they post out, and you basically get to choose when you are working as well. So those are really useful for making sure that you're balancing your work and student life and still getting an income and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there is a company on our campus, and it exists at some other universities as well, called Unitemps. You are all students all today are registered with Unitemps, can support us with any kind of shifts that we have. It's not always, guarantee. If you need something that is a guaranteed income, that you're looking for perhaps hours that are going to be guaranteed, you might want to have a look out at part-time jobs. And there is a lot in the area to offer, whether it's in shops, for example, or cafes. There's quite a big scene going on in the city centre, which is just a 5-minute walk away from campus. So it's not too inconvenient. You don't have to get buses anywhere. So those are quite flexible. You know, you can get back in time to do some work. But definitely check out becoming a student ambassador, because I think it's a great way of kind of telling people even about your course, and sharing some of your experience, your top tips, your do's and don'ts. I'm sure you all look back and think, oh gosh, I wish I knew this when I started university. So great, we've got some more comments there. So thank you for getting them into us. So that's great. Has anybody else got a job outside of being a student ambassador? Yeah, Luxie, I'll come over to you.
So I actually work back home, and luckily I was fortunate enough to work as a pharmacist technician back home. I had this job whilst I was doing A-levels. So I applied for flexible hours. So I made sure it was a 0-hour contract. And because it was a private pharmacy, I had the capability of coming back home whenever I had holidays. So if I had Christmas holidays, so we have like really long terms. So it's not like A-levels where you would have like short terms, like 1 week off, 2 weeks off. You usually get a bulk holiday for like a month for Christmas. So I would usually come back home, and sometimes I'd be working in a pharmacy, which gives me extra money. But a lot of people don't really do that. I was lucky enough to get something like that, so I'm grateful for that. But it's always best to have a part-time job, especially if you're someone who likes to go out often, you like to party, you like to go clubbing. In general, having a student life is quite expensive. So I always would recommend like have a part-time job, even if it's not for a lot of hours, even if you do a 0-hour contract and you have a couple of hours in your hand, having that money would really help.
Great. So good to know about that. I when I was at university, I didn't know about anything like a student ambassador as kind of thing that you could get involved in. So it's good that that's something that exists now, offers flexible work as well. We, you know, if you need any finance support at any time, though, you can again come and speak to the student finance team. Anna, did you want to chip in?
Yeah. So just as a thought for anybody who's going to study a practical course, there will be quite a lot of materials that you're gonna have to buy throughout the 3 years. So it's always good to have this in mind, and maybe even look for the part-time job to be able to save up little by little, especially for your final year. As some courses you might have like a final collection to do, which can end up costing quite a bit, even though DMU does have certain materials that they do cover.
Fab. So something else perhaps to touch upon is that, you know, outside of getting a job, for example, something that you can do as part of your course is that you can do, for example, a year abroad, which is something that I did. I studied abroad at a university, but you could also work abroad as well. Or you could just do a placement year, and that could be in the UK. It could be somewhere close to your university. It could be closer to home. It could be somewhere else in the UK. Demi, you did actually do a placement year. We have got a question here, so that's why we've brought it up here. So if you could give us a bit more information about what you did for your placement year, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, sure. So each kind of faculty will have maybe a placement team that will be able to help you. So I started applying for a placement in September of my second year, and I completed my placement in my third year. So what you have to have is firstly a lot of commitment and motivation to want to do a placement. I applied for over 50, maybe had 6 or 7 interviews, then got to the final 2 or 3 on a few occasions, and finally got selected in July after my second year. So I left it quite late to get one, but I just didn't give up. So you have to kind of have that mentality not to give up and to use the feedback to improve yourself. So that's firstly what I think is important to know about a placement before you then go and actually do one. Then I did one in Coventry, which isn't too near Leicester, and I actually then moved home to Milton Keynes to commute. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be kind of a typical student. I'm going to be up early. I'm going to be working. I'm going to be coming home. Might have to do some stuff at home as well. So I kind of lived at home with my family who are also working full time. So it kind of made sense. A placement is great as it gives you experience, maybe a field that you are interested in. So I worked as a brand digital and communications intern for Saint-Gobain. So it's a French company and I worked for their UK business. So I got lots of different experience working in the comms team. I also did a little projects and worked with HR, finance and procurement. So you get exposed to all the different kind of areas of business. And then I've come back into my final year and you can kind of make that link to the practicalities of what happens in business. And my grades have actually shot up by about 10 to 12% on average at the moment. So then there's that academic performance that can be enhanced as well.
Wow, that's great that it's really supported you in your current studies, and that's going to be some absolutely fantastic kind of skills and experience to talk about on your CV and in job interviews once you graduate. So that's really, really going to help you. Yes, it's great getting a degree, but if there's anything else that you can add in there, it's all just added value stuff that's really, really going to help you when you graduate, I think. Something that I want to move on to, something a little bit light-hearted, I think a little bit fun, is your actual student life. So yes, you go to your lectures, yes, you do your coursework and your exams and you're all very studious. But obviously you have to have that balance, don't you? You've got to have fun, work hard even, and then play hard. So yeah, getting that balance. Have any of you kind of jumped into kind of student life experiences? Have you joined perhaps a club or a society perhaps? Yeah, Debbie?
So in my first year, I did archery. It's not something that thought I could be able to do. It was kind of something different as a sport. I usually play football. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to just do something different, maybe meet some new people. I did like a beginner's course and I didn't join the society the next year, but for me, it was a great experience to just learn a new skill and have some fun, have something to do in the evenings once a week. And for those that were really good at it, went to different competitions in Europe, I think in the Netherlands. This was 3 years ago, but don't quote me on it, but I think so. So yeah, it was quite interesting. Then people go out and do socials as well. So maybe go out for meals, go to pubs and clubs. So you get to socialize outside of doing what you do, like training and stuff. And then in my final year, I joined the Ambassador Society, which kind of gets people together that maybe want part-time work, and also just anyone that wants to have fun with a fun group of people. So yeah, that's another society that I joined in my final year. And I was also the treasurer. So you can, if you want to join a society, you can become a committee member as well. So we've got like treasurer, social, all these kind of different roles that you can add to your CV as well. If you don't want to do that, you can also just join as a member to multiple societies.
Yeah, so if you say join a sports society, you don't necessarily have to be the best person at playing that sport or to play it competitively. It can be about the social experience. It can just be about making some friends. It's good to have lots of friendship groups if that's on your course, in your society, in your accommodation perhaps as well. So I think that's really good. I'll go around all of you if you want to just pop in maybe what you got involved in, or if you didn't, and what you would have wanted to have gotten involved in if you'd had the time or had remembered to join up. Anna, do you want to start?
Sure. So in my first year, I'd come from a background of doing quite a lot of sport, and I was mainly into volleyball. However, just before uni, when it came to A-levels, I left it to concentrate on that. So when I came to uni, I still wanted to be active in some kind of sport, but decided to kind of change it completely and try something new. So in the first year, for a certain amount of time, I was in the boxing society and the boxing team. Which was absolutely brilliant because it was something completely new, but it gave me a new focus outside of also uni work. Also, being first year, it was great to meet people who I'm still in contact, I'm still friends with now, who I met through there. and it's definitely a great skill, and I'd recommend that society to anyone, to be honest.
Nabila?
So I actually have one regret is I didn't actually get involved in as much of the societies as I probably could have. I was really nervous, and honestly, at the time, I don't really know why I didn't do it, but I didn't. And there were so many societies. So archery was one of them that I was actually interested in because I'd never done it before, and I thought that could be cool. Then I think at the time there was like a scuba diving society and stuff, and I just feel like I wish I did it because there was also a skydiving society, which is just, and university is all about trying new things and gaining new experiences. So I think if there's something, just do it. It'll be a lot of fun because I started to get more involved a bit later in my 3 years, and I kind of regret not doing it sooner because I started getting involved in volunteering because that's something that's really important to me, and I made loads of friends doing that. I got to meet loads of people and do things that I'd never done before. I mean, one of the things I used to do was on a Friday afternoon. There's a group of ladies who were all cancer patients, and they met up in the afternoon, and we'd just go over, teach them some techie stuff and do some arts and crafts with them as well. But they started to bring like Indian goodies for us. So they'd make like really nice snacks and stuff, and they'd bring tea, and we'd just sit together, have a chat, have a laugh. So it's things like that. That's all fun. And it looks really good on your CV as well. So it's really good to just get involved in as much as you can, because at the end of the day, you're paying to go to university and you need to make it more worth your time. So get involved in as much as you can, because you won't regret it. It'll be a lot of fun. And if you don't like it, fine. If you love it, great. And that's what it's all about, to be honest.
Scuba diving in the Midlands, huh?
I mean, they were taking them somewhere, but I thought it looked really cool. I think there's a cove or something. I don't know. Is there somewhere close by?
I'm sure there's a centre. It's like when you go to ski slopes and you're like, ski slopes? Demi? Caitlin?
So with me, I did societies in first year, second year, and I think a bit of third year. So I did Law Society, ACS, Ghana Society, and those were really good for like putting on random events. Yeah, those are really good for like doing random events, like when you just want to go. And especially in first year, there's so many free events with free food. So with me, that was just my selling point. Like if there was food, I'm there. It doesn't matter what it is. I was there. And also I wanted to keep fit. So, but the thing is, I didn't want to like commit to gym memberships early on because I was a bit lazy. So DMU Active as well, they do like random classes and stuff like that. So just ask a friend and go for those. And also in terms of Leicester as a city as well, there's so many like I like eating, if you haven't realized already. And so there are loads of like little cute cafes and stuff like that. So those are really good like for socializing and stuff like that in between lectures and things like that. So those were really good as well. Yeah. And DMU also put on these like random talks where like these lecturers will come from, even outside speakers will come as well. And I liked going to those as well in the evenings as well, just to like learn something other than my course and stuff like that, and just be like aware with like current information and stuff like that. That was good as well. So yeah, that was fun.
No, I think it's great to take opportunities to just continuously learn, even that outside of your course, just picking up new things, because you might not actually end up going into a job that's related to your course. I did languages at university, so it's not quite relevant here today, but it's the skills that you pick up and what you learn along the way that gets you to your career and what you want to do. So that's really, really good. Some good advice. Lakshmi, do you have some advice for us? Do you have a sports society that you joined, perhaps?
Yeah, so I was actually one new students, so I decided to join all the societies, as many societies as I can, during the first time when I went in, and I couldn't juggle any of them. Like I was really, I was one of those. That's what I really wanted to say. Don't just, there's a lot of things that you would like, but pick a few that you would stick to, that that you would make time for, because I was so excited. I started going to netball society, this society, that society. And eventually when it was time to actually go to them, I was like, whoa, I can't really do this. This is too hard for me. And I eventually had to give up a lot. think I only stuck with netball. I kept going. I'm not in netball society anymore because I had a lot of workload, so I was focusing on that. But don't be me. Don't do me. Don't go and pick loads of ones at the same time and then struggle, because there's a lot of things that I really wanted to do, and I think I would definitely try it out this year if I have free time. So yeah.
Yeah. Stick to one. Demi, yeah.
Yeah, stick to one.
Yeah, just to add to that, sometimes it can be hard because there's so many different societies that you can join. But at the start of the academic year in September, just before term time starts, you can go to like freshers fairs and things like that, and you can sign up for taster sessions and speak to the committee members who will probably know most about the society. So you can go and speak to them and sign up for little tasters before you commit to joining it properly, which is quite good, I think.
Yeah.
I think you only really have time. Personally, I felt like I only had time to join the one, unless, as you said, Caitlin, you can do little bits and bobs here and there. And usually a lot of people have Wednesdays afternoons off to kind of join in, take part in these kind of things, which is nice because it's good to be able to build that kind of friendship group, have that kind of exercise if that's what you want to do, depending on, you don't have to join a sports society. You can join whatever you want, the Harry Potter Society if you want to. So perhaps they run around with broomsticks, who knows. But yes, you don't have to be join something sporty. It could be about just meeting like-minded individuals, meeting different people, having different friendship groups. Is there anything else that any great opportunities that you've managed to kind of get involved in at university? Look, Nabila, she's like, I'm ready to tell you everything about my life. It's brilliant. Go on, Nabila.
Yes, definitely. I mean, the one thing that has been the most amazing thing and 100% the highlight of my entire uni experience is DMU Global. So as through DMU Global, I've managed to visit like 5 or 6 different countries over the last few years. And what's amazing about it is that the trips are subsidized, and the university offers a bursary for students to help make it more affordable for you to travel. And because we live in a world where we're connected through the internet and everything, having that global knowledge and cultural experiences is what's really important. So one of the best trips that I'd ever been on was a trip to Hong Kong. And it was amazing. I actually went with Demi. We went together and we were working down there at one of the festivals that was taking place. And it was amazing. The country was beautiful. We experienced so many things. And it really just opens your eyes to kind of the possibilities out there. So, like getting a job out there, making connections with people who could potentially offer you something in the future, I think is really, really important. And that's been the highlight of my time at university, 100%, because now I have the travel bug and I love to travel, and I'm confident enough to travel alone and just prepare for things like that by myself. And I think that's a really important and useful skill to have.
It's a massive skill, going somewhere where, you don't necessarily speak the language, you don't know. Sometimes when you look at instructions for how to get somewhere, and you're like, I don't understand. How do I get to this place?
It's like public transport is so scary abroad, but once you do it in one place, you can do it anywhere.
I think once you shook yourself in there, you're like, yes, I've got this. I can do this. And it's a massive sense of self-accomplishment, isn't it? And kind of standing on your own 2 feet. Demi, have you been on a trip?
Yeah, no, just to speak a bit about DMU Global. So for those that don't know how it works, you can get a bursary for 2 trips a year. So one that would be more volunteering and one would be more academic. So like maybe a course leader would set it up. So I've been on 3 in my 4 years. I didn't do any in my first year. In my first year, I didn't get involved in too much, but in my second year and third year and fourth year, I did. So I've recently went to Prague just before this lockdown on a business trip. So we got to visit a glass factory and a brewery, Pilsner. So we got to see how new technology is kind of increasing production, making things much more efficient and effective, and learning about the culture of the company. I got to speak to a few people, which is really interesting. And then, adding to Hong Kong was probably my best, most fun global trip. So I worked at the Global Innovation Festival. So you gain some experience. Personally, I worked in the content team. So I was like meeting and registering guests and making sure, helping out with the organisation of the day. Got to meet some pretty cool people. So these kind of DMU Global, who you meet, it can, you know, get to network. Like networking is really important. So you can maybe add someone on LinkedIn, or, you know, get someone's number to maybe message them about opportunities in the future. So a good way to increase your opportunities for yourself as well. And then my last one was in New York. I went to present a project at the United Nations. I think a lot of students have been to New York. They did like mass trips there. So all these different experiences have kind of helped shape who I am leaving university.
I love how you all just casually drop these countries in. Oh, I just went to Hong Kong. I just went to New York. You know, just went to Prague. It sounds like some fantastic opportunities. And as you mentioned, Demi, there are some scholarships available for students. So if you're thinking, you know, how can I afford this? There are some scholarships and also some bursaries available to help you to kind of get involved in these. You know, we want as many students of our students as possible to have this experience. So did anybody else want to mention about a trip that they've been on? Have you all had a trip? Yeah. Caitlin?
Oh, yeah, so the whole global aspect was like the favorite thing about DMU for me. And so in my first year I went to Brussels, and it was kind of exciting because that's when like the whole Brexit thing was happening, and so we went to like all the important EU like parliaments and all of that stuff. We had loads of waffles. Like it was just a very nice experience, and it was the first time traveling like without my mum, so that was like a big step for me. And so from then I was like, I'm gonna go on one every year. So then in my second year I went on a volunteering trip to Ghana in West Africa, and that was really amazing to do because it was like, even though I was going back to my home country, it was like for volunteering. So we taught like school children English. We also like donated to an autism center. It was just really fun, and like we did like loads of different things like sightseeing and stuff like that, going to the mountains and different parts of the country. So we weren't just based in the capital as well. So that was really fun. And then in my third year, I also went to New York as well. And that was amazing as well, going to the like United Nations, going to the Supreme Court as well. That was really fun. And we watched a murder case as well. So that was very sad, but it was very interesting to see. And like just so many different amazing things, like seeing Carlos Bakery and stuff like that. And then I also, in that same third year, my last year, I also went to Ghana again. So it was basically like building upon what we did in first year as well. And so to see like the change and the impact, fundraising and teaching the kids like actually help them, like that was really heartwarming to see, like actually doing something for that community. So yeah, like favorite trips hands down. Like my Instagram is so popping because of all of these experiences actually.
Love that your Instagram is popping, Caitlin. That sounds fantastic. Just looking to see that we've answered all, you know, as many questions as we can here today. We have one here from Jen. I think a fantastic question again. Does the student finance, the maintenance loan, so what you get to live on for your accommodation, food, everything like that, if your maintenance loan, fully cover your accommodation costs without the need for a part-time job? Yeah, Demi?
Mine is constantly changed, and it's really dependent on things like your parents' income and kind of other support. So for me, I think on 2 of the years it hasn't, 1 of the years it has. So it's all dependent on things like that. But if you know what kind of student finance you're getting, you should be trying to budget what accommodation you should maybe be getting. So if you want to maybe live in your own studio and you don't have much accommodation, then you're probably going to need a part-time job unless you want to hit the bottom of your overdraft. So it's all dependent on those things. But as long as you budget and you know what you're getting in, and you can accommodate for things like what accommodation you're going to get, what kind of activities you like to do within your life, then you'll be fine. So it's not anything to really worry about, I wouldn't say.
That's great. So I'm just going to post actually a link in the conversation here, and that is actually for you to start having a look to see what you would be eligible for as part of your student finance package. So you can have a look at your tuition fee loan, and you can have a look as well. So I'll pop that up there for you. You can have a look at what you would get tuition fee wise and what you might be able to get maintenance loan wise as well. So you can already start making a plan of things like accommodation. Can you get that snazzy accommodation, or might you need to get something a little bit more kind of scaled back when it comes to price? We're hitting the kind of 1 hour mark now, so I guess I would just kind of like to maybe end on maybe a top tip, a piece of advice, or something you could go back and tell yourself before you started university. I'll give you a moment just to think about this here. So if you can just quickly shoot out, a thought. We'll go around, don't worry, everybody can have a go. And let me know maybe whether it was should have done more open days, or should you have done a bit more reading before the start of your course. So Anna, what's your thoughts?
So before the course, I think definitely if you can, do visit an open day, because it's those things when you see at a first glance what the facilities are like, or being able to just simply talk to students that are there already, or the lecturers. It's really when you are able to actually see what it's going to be like if you were a student there. So that's definitely the best thing, and you can get all the questions that you've got answered, and resolve any doubts that you've got.
Nabila?
My advice would be work on managing your time as effectively as possible and get involved in as much as you possibly can. Dabble in new things you've never done before, and just every opportunity that presents itself, just take it, because you have no idea where it might lead. And I think it's experiences that make you who you are. And it's also really important for when you're applying for jobs, because at the end of the day, everybody will have a degree. We're all in this chat have a degree. But it's all your experiences and your skills that you develop over time that's going to actually help you stand out in the crowd.
Yeah. Lakshmi?
I would say don't overthink it, because I was such an overthinker. I would overthink everything so much before I started uni. Don't overthink it, and especially do your research. Do your research within the uni, your course, how you're going to live out, your accommodation. Do your research, or it's better to be ahead of everything in case you just get stuck if you're like too late into it and you have 1 month into going to uni. And definitely go to open days, because it will really help. It will help you change your mind on courses which you like and which you don't. Advice that I would want to give.
Next, Caitlin?
Yeah, I would say just do it and cut your coat according to your size. So like just do it. Like even if you end up not liking the thing, I mean, that's also a lesson. You've learned something about yourself, and sometimes you also love it as well, and you make like the greatest friends in the process as well, which is really good, especially like if they're from other courses and stuff. Like I now, because of like just doing it and meeting other people, like I have friends who are now accountants, pharmacists, lawyers, all these kind of things which are going to be so useful in your life to come. And just also like cutting your coat according to your size, like just make sure you can do things that you can afford, that you can manage, and still be staying on top of your work, because the reason you did come here was for a degree. So like make sure you get it.
Yeah. Demi?
Yeah, I would say so. Prior to coming to university, get involved in as much as well. Like, are there any volunteering opportunities at your school or sixth form? And can you go and get a part-time job along sixth form? Can you do something like Duke of Edinburgh, or all these extra things that will make your application to university before actually going stand out? Because then when you go to university and you want to get a part-time job, if you have no volunteering or maybe prior job experience, it's going to be even harder to get that first part-time job. So the earlier that you can get these things, it will just make it easier when you do get to university.
Great. Thank you so much for that, everyone. Thank you for being my guest today. And thank you to everybody who's logged in today, watched our stream, commented as well, asked us some questions. I really appreciate you all with us today. And I hope you've taken away some good top tips, some advice, and that will help you with your preparation for university. So just a couple of things from me, really, before we end. If you would like to join one of our future live streams, this is where you can find the link on our website. So yeah, anything like student finance, we'll have one on that. Things like the application process. So we've got lots on offer. If you would like to see our campus, So we mentioned open days, but you can also see our virtual tour on our website by going on this link also. If you want that link again for our open days, it's on the 4th of July. We'd love to see you there. Come along. Again, these comments are all posted in the comments, so you can find the links there. If you can't quickly write these down, please don't worry about it. If we couldn't answer your question today, if we didn't have time to answer, then you can get in touch with us if you want to ask a student or perhaps even myself. You can go on to the link there, the dmu.ac.uk/student chat. You can actually speak to students or staff members on this link, and we'll try and help you as much as possible. But if you have a general inquiry, it might be about your course or your application, then you might want to give us a call or WhatsApp us even, or email us at inquiry.dmu.ac.uk. I hope that was helpful. Again, it was fantastic to speak to you all, and hopefully we'll see you on the next live stream. Okay, see you later, everyone.
Bye.